Welcome to Care Less with Carly, the podcast for people who are done playing by their roles. I'm your host, Carly Lynn, and each week we'll cut through the noise with real talk, bold conversation, and expert insights to help you trade perfection for purpose and live life on your own terms. Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's very special episode of Care Less with Carly. Today, I'm sitting down with someone whose work is powerful, deeply transformative, and might just shift the way you think about healing and manifestation. LexyRose Scott is a manifestation expert and divine channel who helps visionary, high-achieving women design lives they truly love with ease, clarity, and conviction. But her journey didn't start there. LexyRose began her career as a sought-after celebrity stylist working in the fashion industry with major talent and brands. So yes, she is the total embodiment of both glam and grounded. And we're going to get into all of that today. And I also just want to call out that some of the terminology or techniques we'll be talking about might be brand new to some of our listeners, and that's okay. It might feel a little woo-woo. So if you're just hearing this for the first time, don't worry, we got you. We're going to break down everything in a very easy, relatable way. So welcome, LexyRose.
Thank you so much for having me.
Have you here. We met serendipitously. We were connected in a chat and manifested this interview. And
yeah, we did.
It's all divine.
It's really wonderful to be here with you today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm so happy you're here. We have so much to talk about. I want to start at the beginning because as I mentioned in my intro, this wasn't always your world. No. You started in the fast-paced hustle culture of fashion. And not only that, being a celebrity stylist, really working in the grind.
Yeah.
Can you take us back to the beginning? How did things look for you when you first started your career?
Okay. So when I first started as a stylist, I think, for as long as I can remember, I was always trying to contort and adjust and shift myself to meet the world, right? I always thought there was something inherently wrong with me. I always wanted to, I was like, oh, I feel this, but that's wrong. That's not correct. And I would often judge and criticize. And, I think in a way, this critical eye that I had not only for myself, but also in my work really helped me. It helped me with the details and be so on it in certain ways, but it ended up also being a detriment to me. I struggled with an eating disorder. I struggled with an addiction as I was a stylist, right? The whole identity of styling and my job really was this huge mask. I think that distracted me from the work that I really needed to do. And I don't even like to call it work. I think it's honoring myself.
Right.
How
was that coming up for you then?
How was that coming up for me? I mean,
what were you feeling?
I was always anxious. I was always stressed out. I always felt like I wasn't enough. I always felt like there was something wrong.
Right.
I never woke up in the morning at ease, which I don't know how many people honestly do, because I do speak to so many people now. I think that this is a common theme that many people experience, but now I don't. And in a way it feels so distant, but it's still I could still taste what that felt like.
Sure.
It was debilitating. There were so many days that I felt like I couldn't even get out of bed.
Right.
Right.
What was the turning point for you when you realized I need to do something about this?
I think it was a series of major meltdowns. There were moments that I would be on the floor, I kept going to the doctors and being like, something's just not right with me. I was taking medication. I was prescribed an ADD medication that I ended up abusing. And I had so much shame because I had this addiction and I was trying to make everything perfect and be perfect and, do the best job I could do and be everything to everyone. And meanwhile, I was sinking.
Right.
So I got to this point where I was, my mom actually came into my styling studio one day and she's like, Lexi, what is going on? And I was like, in my mind, I'm like, I really can't keep running from myself anymore.
Right.
I cannot.
Where do you think that pressure to have it all together comes from? I assume that's something you see with a lot of your clients. You're working with high achieving women. Yeah. So where do we get that? We're not born with it.
No, we're programmed to aspire towards things. Part of my work too is to constantly invite ourselves into our evolution. But I think the aspirations that I was aspiring to be everything I was not, And I think it was also to fit in. We want to be accepted. So we think if we're beautiful and if we're smart and if we're doing all the things and we're making other people happy and we're checking all the boxes.
Right.
I was definitely in that checking all the boxes, but so sinking and hiding all of this stuff behind, closed doors. I didn't even realize, I was avoiding things that I really needed to face.
So going back to that question, so when did you make the shift?
My mom came into the studio. I was like, yeah, something is definitely not right, for sure. Something's not right.
Moms know.
Yeah, she knew for a while, and I kept avoiding my family. I didn't want to be around them because I really felt so much shame. It was debilitating, and I was also energetically, my nervous system was shot.
Right. I wonder if you were trying so hard to keep it all together. You thought that if somebody actually saw you struggling, it was just going to
definitely
unravel.
Right. And I really did try to hold it together for a while.
Yeah, it sounds like
I did.
I mean, look at all the ways that your body was saying this is not working, this is not working, and you were like, nope,
right.
I'm going to keep telling you, I'll show you.
So I go home. So this is an important part. I was always into conscious creation, and people call it manifestation, which we're doing anyways all day. We're always manifesting. We're thinking, and based on our beliefs, we're doing things that are creating our reality. So I got really clear when I was with my ex-husband, and he said to me, you need a studio. You cannot be working in our apartment anymore.
Okay. This is when you're a stylist, or this is after?
Yeah, this is when I was styling.
Okay.
And he's like, you need a studio. He's like, think of what you want and start looking. So I did. And I was like, I want a brownstone. I want it to be on my street on the Upper East Side. So I lived at 205. Within 3 days of me really getting clear, all of a sudden I see this listing, and it's 208 East 78th, apartment A. So I go there. It had a garden in the back, just like what I wanted. It had all these rooms straight. It was gorgeous. I'm 205, it's 208.
Wow.
So I could have my packages from styling sent to the doorman so things don't get lost, because things can get lost.
Of course.
And then,
so keep track.
So anyways, it worked out. He's like, listen, this is a gift. I mean, I can't even believe I got this gift. He's like, I'm going to pay rent the whole year up front. So that was one of the first big manifestations.
You truly are a manifestation expert. Please teach us.
I will.
You two are dreaming about a brownstone.
I will. I mean, yes, I will. Anyways, I went back home and I was like, okay, I think I'm going to have to give the keys away. I'm going to have to get rid of the lease. Right. Okay. So I did. I got all my clothes out. I definitely had help. My mom came and helped me. I had racks put in. So there were tons of clothes and all my things. And it's hard because, I think a big part of me knew that nothing would ever be the same again, and everything that I worked so hard towards, I had this vision of what I was going to build and that, all these things. And it kind of crashed because I couldn't sustain it. There would be no way that I would be able to sustain any of it
anymore.
Yeah.
Right. So, okay. So you got rid of that dream studio.
Yeah. And then 2 weeks later, I found out I was pregnant. Wow. And I cold turkey just stopped any of the medication that I had been taking that year. And then a month later was the pandemic.
Okay.
And then that was really my time to go in, to get clear, to understand that, I think many of us during the pandemic, it was really a wake up call for a lot of us to get honest.
Right.
There were no more distractions.
There was nowhere to hide.
There were no more distractions. And I think what's happening a lot more so now is, and I don't know if you've noticed this, but you really can't hide anything. People can't hide what they could before. Everything is coming to the surface.
Interesting. That's not something that I feel like I would automatically think about, but you work so closely in the space of energy. And now that you say it, you're right. I feel like there is a lot coming to the surface.
I want to share something. I think many listeners right now, I am sure, are going through somewhat of a transformation. They're seeing things that are not working for them anymore. And it's scary because our logical minds want things to be like, I did not want to let go of that studio. I did not want to let go of that identity. That was everything to me.
Sure.
And it's okay to let yourself evolve because you never know what's on the other side. Right. And sometimes if things just, don't make sense anymore in your life, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a job, when you're honoring what is really true for you, things have a really beautiful way. I don't mean to sound so woo-woo, but this is the truth. When you honor the sacredness of yourself and your life, things will open up to support.
Yeah.
When there is resistance in your life, generally the resistance is trying to show you just what isn't flowing.
Right.
And we're literally here. We're meant to flow.
Right.
You know, if you think about the rhythms of the ocean, right? And plants, and our inherent nature knows what is right for us.
Yes.
We know what is truly right for us.
What's the way that resistance might be showing up for people? Again, I want to account for the fact that maybe some of the listeners are hearing these concepts for the first time.
Yes, and forgive me if I don't mean to.
No, that's okay. I think that's why we're the yin yang.
Yeah.
What does resistance look like? I mean, for you, you mentioned it was showing up in the form of eating disorder, anxiety, addiction. But I think, what are small ways that it might be showing up for people?
Okay, so resistance, for example, maybe you are in a relationship with someone and they, no matter what you do, they just keep doing these things that are making you feel uneasy. But you are maybe scared to advocate for yourself. You're scared to speak up because you know if you speak up for yourself, they might not accept you.
Sure.
But in your body, every cell in your being just feels like this is not right anymore. Like I can't do this in this way anymore. I think of resistance is really giving you the opportunity to make the choice to choose yourself.
Wow, that's really powerful.
Because whenever you're really hitting a wall, it's just saying this might not be the right road for you, or not that there's a right or a wrong, but there's always an easier way.
Yeah.
And at the beginning, when you're making choices that are really honoring yourself, it does require a new level of authority in your life and certainty. Like you make choices that really honor you. It might be difficult at first because when you're used to old patterning of maybe people pleasing, it's hard to speak up because you're scared that other people aren't going to accept you, but you're self-abandoning. And when you self-abandon, how can other people honor you?
Right. The word that comes up is self-trust when you talk about that.
I had none for so long. I had none.
What were some of the ways that you started to build that within yourself? Or maybe our listeners can connect to what you're saying.
I think a lot of us can be on autopilot. I was on autopilot for so long. You know, I was going through the motions, but I was not in it. Like I was kind of checked out in a lot of, right? I was trying to check out because I didn't feel safe. So what are some ways is listening to yourself, going down, letting yourself get clear, letting yourself know, well, what do I want to experience in this life? Where are some of these relationships? Maybe where are people not necessarily meeting me? And is this mirroring something back about the way I'm not really honoring myself?
Are there any themes?
I think self-trust is also doing things that nurture you, right? Like I'm going to wake up every morning and I'm going to go to that gym, no matter what it takes. I'm going to wake up 30 minutes earlier. I'm going to go before I go and serve everyone else and do everything else for everyone. Like I'm going to begin to, and that's when you start feeling safer in your body because you're not abandoning yourself.
Yeah.
I never felt safe. My nervous system was shot from the medication for sure, but also because I was never nurturing myself. How could I feel safe if I wasn't caring for myself?
Yes.
We're in survival.
Right.
And I think many people get into the survival mode because we have to go to the job and we have to do this and we have to do that. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't do all these things, but I think that there's a way to do them where we're also honoring ourselves.
Yeah. And I like the idea of there being small things. Yeah. I mean, for some people, going to the gym might actually feel like a big thing.
It is a big thing.
When you do it, you're so happy you did it.
Yes. And it's like giving back to yourself.
Yeah. And thank you for sharing so much of your story because it looks different for everyone, right? What it means to honor yourself or put yourself first, that depending, what stage of life you're in, if you have kids, what your job looks like, where you live. Right. So, I mean, in motherhood, I'm sure even more, you're constantly tasked with the choice of where can I put myself first, which is probably a whole nother tangent of motherhood. But
yeah, I mean, I just think that you have to put the oxygen mask on yourself before anyone else.
Right. I actually, it was funny. I did that this morning. I woke up and I thought, okay, I want to keep prepping for our interview. And then I thought, okay, I know that when I sit and I journal for 10 minutes in the morning, I feel so clear and grounded. And I had that exact thought. I'm going to put my oxygen mask on first and then I'll tend to the rest of the world.
And you can.
I'm so glad I did it.
Yeah. It's like you have, I don't want to say have to. I never want to say have to, but it's interesting. When you start making these little subtle choices that really are true to you, when I say honor, I mean like Are you, going to meet a friend when you really feel like it's not the right time for you, right? These little things that it's your intuition and it's your body speaking to you, your mind is speaking to you. You know what's right for you.
Yes, 100%. That connects so much because a former version of me used to say yes to everything.
I did too. And
drive halfway across town for a commitment when I don't really think that person would have done the same for me. You know what I mean?
Right, of course.
And it really becomes almost like a muscle when you start allowing yourself to, like you said, feel safe because you're choosing yourself. I think it's a ripple effect, and so much else starts to open for you. The reason I titled the podcast Care Less was because I think a lot of people get stuck in all of the shoulds. It sounds like you were for a while. These are all the things that you thought you should be doing.
Yeah.
And what happens when you care less? You tune out the noise and you start to really focus on what you want. That's the whole care less philosophy. So much of the work that you do really connects to it. And I want to talk about some of the modalities you use, which listeners, we're gonna break these down in relatable ways, but things like Holy Fire Reiki.
I know. I mean, I laugh too. My husband is so not woo. Like guess what? I live amongst non-woo people. I do operate in this world, So Reiki is it's amazing. So a little more of a backstory. I had an autoimmune disorder that they couldn't really identify what it was, but it kept coming up in my blood. They didn't know specifically what it was, but it was a autoimmune. Some part
of your body saying we're fighting back.
And then I had very debilitating depression, anxiety. And I did this class virtually. It was breathwork and Reiki. And I'm in the class and I do the breathwork and then I experience the Reiki. And in the class, I was like, this is incredible. I felt part of something. I felt safe. I didn't know what it felt like to
Your
feel.
body.
I didn't know what it felt like ever. I don't think to feel safe, because I remember like going through life and always like thinking something bad is going to happen. Right. I was always in this space, but so I felt this sense of safety, and I had just had my daughter, and I wasn't styling because we were in the pandemic. It was a little bit after, and I was like, this is what I'm going to help people with. This is something that everyone deserves to feel.
Wow.
It was such a profound thing. I felt it on a cellular level in my mind. I had some type of freedom within my mind, and I felt quite liberated through the experience. So after that, I looked into Reiki, and I would find that in every session and after every session, like I would wake up even a little bit less anxious in the morning. I felt a little bit clearer. I would begin to like sit down and write out intentions and really begin to dream of a life, of something that I could do and feel and what I wanted my experience to feel like with my family and all of it, I began to accept things, not in a way of laziness, but just in a way of, wow, my life is actually a gift.
That sounds like it was a really profound light bulb for you.
It was.
What does Reiki look like for somebody who doesn't know? And what if you're practicing Reiki with a client, what does that session look like?
So Reiki is of Japanese origin, and it translates into universal life force energy. It is, if you can imagine what pure unconditional love is, if you remember the love of a grandmother or a parent, or the love you have for your dog, if you can imagine that in an energy that just comes through, it comes through people's hands. It's actually used in hospitals for, patients that are undergoing treatments for cancer and things like this.
Right.
I mean, it made me feel so at ease, and I was like, okay, let's share it. So what it looks like is, I have a session called The Experience, and I do combine the modalities of breath work and Reiki, but I do have meditations that just have Reiki in them that I'm going to leave links. I'll give you links in the show notes.
I'll put everything.
It does, because it's universal life force, because it's infinite intelligence. It actually knows how to work beyond our comprehension. I try not to explain so much to people because I think the best way to really understand is to experience it on your own.
Yes.
Because there is this logical mind that's in the way that's like, how could that work virtually? But if you think about when you watch a movie, you feel something, right?
Of course.
So if this energy is coming through to support you, and you're listening to a meditation or you're in session with me, you will feel it. I've had clients be like, Lexi, are you at my head? Like, and I will intentionally like be at someone's head or be at someone's feet. And it works. I have clients that have incredible transformations. I am a totally different person than I was. And you know what? I think it's also quite humbling to do something like Reiki in a way, because it does remind you that maybe there is something beyond you.
I love that. You're introducing questioning to people.
And you're expanding the capacity of what's possible for someone.
Right.
You're moving beyond the limits of what you think you know.
Right. And that's completely true. I mean, we watch movies, we watch shows, they make us laugh, they make us cry, they make us feel, consider. So why not put that experience?
And why not try it?
Why not try it?
Yeah. So Reiki does work on a physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual level. Holy Fire Reiki is very good for empowerment and works very deeply on a cellular level. I've had people, say to me after, like, I had visuals of myself and my husband, and now I kind of know how to navigate this relationship. It's interesting because everything is holistic, right? So it does work very powerfully all at once. And maybe some people are listening and being like, this lady is absolutely out there, but you never know.
You are your story, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm living proof.
You're living proof, right?
Yeah.
You had some very serious signs that what you were doing wasn't working, and you have now done things to change the direction of your life, and here you are. Even if people are thinking, this is new for me, it's your story. So it's
and you
real.
never know. And you never know. And I will say this too, when you're open, the teacher shows up, right? And it doesn't mean that this could very well be a very wonderful support mechanism for you. Yeah. And it is something, if you do find practitioners, you can do it in person, if that feels safer for you at the beginning.
Yeah. One of the themes I know you talk about is energetic blocks. How can someone identify if they are energetically blocked? Is that the same as resistance, or is that different?
So good point. You keep hitting a wall in something in your life. There is some type of a block. But I always say that the block is just it's like a pathway for you, right? And maybe there's opportunity in all of it.
Right.
People always say to me, the universe is testing me, or I don't know if I'm in a bad luck streak. Things are always just working to help us flow. So if something is coming up, it's just coming up to show you what is not in harmony.
What about the idea, though, that, if you read motivational quotes, it's like, get knocked down, get back up, or each door that closes, keep knocking down all the doors. How would you recommend somebody know if they should just keep knocking down those doors, or if that's the universe saying, like, hey, let's switch course?
Sometimes doors are just closing because they're not right for you, but you hold the vision. Continue, as long as you're being true to yourself and you're holding a vision that's true, you keep persevering.
Right.
And you let those opportunities be moments where you deepen that connection, that faith, and that strength in that.
Right. I mean, I even think about starting this podcast. There were a lot of roadblocks, but each roadblock strengthened the desire to want to keep doing it. It didn't deter me.
Right.
I mean, granted, I think there were certain skills or experiences I needed to have along the way, because the podcast is a dream I've had for 15 years. So I think there were experiences or people I needed to meet or conversations I needed to have to get me here. But at no point did it kill the dream. It just reminded me, oh no, I really want to do this.
Yeah.
So that's okay. I like that idea. I wonder if people who are trying something right now, hitting a couple of speed bumps, are thinking, well, maybe the universe is saying, don't do this. But
people do say that to me a lot. And my question to you is, where do you not believe that that's not meant for you? And that is also part of it, right? It's your belief and faith in it.
Right. Right. If you're a listener and you have a dream or a skill or a fire within you, who are you not to let that shine in the world?
And you never know who you're going to help. When I was beginning this whole Reiki process, I had just figured out, I was like, I'm going to just start a website. And I remember feeling so much of this, like, oh my God, I can't do it. And all the things, all the roadblocks on the website were coming up, right? Like, I'm not technically savvy, but I go in the shower and I get this knowing within me. And the message was literally this. It's like, who are you to not share something that can help other people? And And I got out of that shower and I was like, oh, I'm sitting down and doing this now. And I sat down and I looked at it in a whole new way. It's not really about me.
Right.
It's about something beyond me.
So much bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it got me kind of out of the way. The me that wants to control, it got me out of the way. And I sat down and then I'm not kidding you. Like I was able to sort through the website with so much more ease.
Right, because your why was about purpose. It was about all.
It wasn't
the
about what
people.
I could get. It's not about me.
Right, it wasn't
It's beyond
about you.
me.
Yeah, it was about all of the impact and the lives you could help and the people you
Right,
could
but
touch.
I had
by...
no idea. And then people started coming out of the woodwork.
Mm.
And that's the thing. When you're honoring what is truly resonant for you, when you're really sitting down and you're being clear about, okay, well, what's true for me? Do I want to do this? Oh my, I want to do this.
Right.
You will see that you will be resourced. Like source will resource you.
How was that early transition for you into this? What were you calling yourself in the beginning?
I was like, I don't know, practitioner.
A practitioner. Did you feel concerned about judgment? Were you afraid?
Sure.
Were you...
Yeah. I was like, what are people thinking of me? They're going to think I'm like this woo. And then even talking about Reiki, I was like, this is so out there for people. Now it's very natural for me. But I was really worried about how everyone else was going to take it.
And what did you do with that?
I just kept moving through it. I kept posting. I kept moving through it. I did breath work for the confidence and I kept doing it. I was like, this is my decision and it's tricky right now. It feels really uncomfortable. It's like a new identity, you know?
That's exactly what it was.
But I'm going to give myself the permission to evolve because who knows what's on the other side of this.
Right.
And who knows what can happen. And of course, there were a lot of moments as an entrepreneur, you have a lot of rock bottom moments where you're questioning a lot of things.
But you just kept going.
I just kept going.
Right. Well, I think it's important to share that because especially with identity shifts, you had been crafting your identity as a celebrity stylist for years. And now you're reemerging as something that's very unfamiliar for your network of people.
Oh my God, yeah.
Your loved ones, your friends, your colleagues.
Yes.
So
you let yourself evolve and the people who are meant for you won't miss you and your opportunities that are meant for you won't miss you. And there's always enough to go around for everyone.
Right. Well, there's also so many other people who have come in to take the place of the people who are no longer on your aligned path.
We all are growing and everyone's allowed their own story. Everyone's allowed their own path. And
yeah, I just think it's important to talk about that sort of messy middle.
Yeah, it's
because
messy.
Where we're meeting you now, you are a manifestation expert, but there was that pivotal moment in the middle where you decided to make this change, then you took action on this change, and then you sat with the discomfort of
and my husband and
reinventing
everyone being like, well, what are you doing exactly? And
Right.
like, what do you do exactly? And honestly, people just sit in rooms with me and we make things happen.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you want to get there? I'll help you get there.
Sure.
I'll give you the tools.
Sure.
I'll show you your blind spots. You'll know your blind spots. You know?
I like this question, I ask it on the interviews, but what are some of the things you had to start caring less about in this transformation?
What other people thought.
Mm-hmm.
What other people thought, what other people needed of me or needed me to be.
Mm-hmm.
Like I began to really set very clear boundaries with people, which I really had difficulty with for many years.
Like what? What's an example?
I just had to start saying no to things. You know, I used to always want to be there and be the friend. And I still am to my friends. Don't get me wrong. But I also know that it's important for me to feel fulfilled. And I do find that a lot of people who are people pleasers, which is many of us, we end up harboring resentment. And then things get messy.
When you're pouring from an empty cup, you can't show up as the best version of yourself because you've got nothing to give.
Right.
Yeah.
And also, we don't feel good. And when we don't feel good, it's not as good.
Right. Right. I have a couple more questions. I wanted to get your thoughts on manifestation. A lot of people talk about it online.
Yeah.
What's your perspective on how people can apply real world manifestation tactics, not the woo woo pie in the sky, but what are some actionable ways that people can start thinking about calling in what they really want.
Yeah.
I mean, you called in within your first week a brownstone.
I mean,
I would like to call in a brownstone.
You can.
I just want some actionable examples for our listeners.
I want to also preface it with something so that it's clear. I think it's important for us to know that whatever we expect, we are going to continue to create on some level, because we are going to be responding in a certain way that's going to attract a certain thing, right? So if you're very used to, I'm going to bring up a partner. If you're very used to your partner not doing specific things, you're going to act in a certain way that's going to make him continue to not, or her continue to not do those things. So I think number one is to really feel into what is true for me. What do I really want to experience? What do I really want to experience? So you could get a pen and paper. If you don't like your job right now, what do you want your job to be? How do you want your job to feel? Right? And then getting clear about the details, and then thinking about, well, what does this require me to do based on this, right? Based on what I know I want. Now, who do I have to be to experience that?
Okay.
Right? Because you change your frequency based on what you are looking for, thinking about, getting clear on, right? Your energy changes. Maybe you're a little bit optimistic after you've written that list.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Now you see your subconscious mind sees that these things are possible because they're written out. Okay. Your subconscious mind looks for evidence to create. Okay. So just sit down and get clear about what you want.
Okay.
And then I think it's important to think about, do you really believe that this is possible for you?
What if the answer is no? How do people shift that? You know, if you say like, okay, I live in this type of home right now, and I dream of living in this, but how would a listener really get into the mindset of, I do believe this is possible?
I think this is really where the breath work and the Reiki kind of work is, is very incredible. At, you know, helping you get out of the old patterns, opening new neural pathways, clearing a lot of the stagnant energy we hold things on a cellular level that can bring us back to old places and old times.
Right.
I think it's getting really present and being aware of, am I moving as a victim right now in my life, or am I really moving as this architect and artist and designer? And what choices am I making? Am I making choices that connect to the vision that I hold? If we keep moving as the version of us that's stuck in this house or whatever, we're going to keep creating that, right? We're going to create more of that.
Right. You have to start doing things with a different lens of reality.
A different lens, making new choices. For example, like you do have to wake up at 5:30 and go down to the gym, or, you know, take 10 minutes to meditate and really like think about, listen to your vision.
Right.
Like tape record it, listen to it. What does the version of me feel when I'm in that place, or if I'm at that job in that way? How does that feel? And so it's being very intentional. It's not making the old default pattern where you're just going to like hit the snooze button and stay in the bed or whatever and like wallow in your stuff. You're going to get up and you're going to make choices that are going to help you get where you want to go.
Right. And the expectation is not, although you had 3 days of a delta.
It does not always happen that way, but it can. But anything is possible.
Right.
But the thing is I think when you have fierce focus on things and you really believe in it, it will arrive in ways you can't imagine, because the universe is infinite.
Yeah.
You know, the universe is way more intelligent than we can imagine.
Right.
You never know.
But you know that if you stay where you are, that things will not change.
Right. And if you keep looking at the situations and complaining, you're going to create more of that in your reality.
Right.
Think about it.
So some of the ways of people don't believe that things are possible for them, you're suggesting the breathwork and Reiki can help unlock new ways of thinking.
Because it clears a lot of the stuck energy. It's like this mega purifier. And it drops you deeper into new levels of awareness. I even have a free episode that does my breathwork and my Reiki. I just think that if you're in a story that doesn't really feel good anymore, you can always redesign it. I am living proof. Anything is possible. And when you see that maybe these things in your life where you feel like you're hitting a roadblock, or where something isn't necessarily going for you, it's an opportunity for you to empower yourself, for you to make a choice that works for you.
Right. Right. I want to talk about your methodology, the Legendary Woman. This is your own creation.
Yes.
Can you tell our listeners, what is the Legendary Woman? Who is she? And how do you start becoming that?
So for me, I think it's important, and I think all of us with this creation work, is to think about a version of you who has created it already, right? We all have like a full, authentic, true, honest version of ourselves that lets themselves take up space, that is unapologetic, that has desires, that doesn't have shame around having desires, right? I noticed though with a lot of people, like even getting clear on what they want was uncomfortable. And for me, it was for many years. So I began thinking, we all want to be legends. First of all, I think we all We all are legendary. I believe that each one of us is very unique. When we really allow ourselves to tune into our unique frequency, we're all parts of this puzzle and let ourselves take up space. So yeah, so I began just thinking of this identity. And that's when I said before, when you're in the process of manifestation, you want to think about the vision. So part of the vision is to move as the legendary version of yourself. Because if you wake up in the morning, you're just going to keep creating based on what you know as that version of you. We're always trying to evolve, right? If we want our experience of life to evolve and to grow and to be this fulfilling thing, we also have to move as the version of us that can have that.
Right.
Or that can be that.
Right.
Or that is that. We already are that, but are we honoring that?
Are we showing up in the world as that?
Yeah. I use this word honor because I think it's just like acknowledging. That's it. It's like, are we really acknowledging our fullness, our full capacity?
So with the legendary woman, that is your way of working with your clients to help sort of get them
Where they
familiar, right?
Yeah, with
embodying,
becoming.
or they already are, but really starting to get into the flywheel of becoming
Yeah.
and expressing themselves
Yeah.
as the legendary woman.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, I was curious where that came from.
I just thought like having a name, something that's aspirational, but also in a way we can make it relatable. Why not?
Yeah.
Something that we can think about and activate within ourselves to then navigate through life.
I think it's beautiful. And so now you do individual one-on-one.
Yes.
And then you also do groups, right?
Yeah, I do group events and I do some corporate things.
I love it. About raising frequencies, raising
Yeah.
vibrations.
Yeah, and
love the idea of a
I
group.
think coming together in community and noticing too when you bring community together how people have the same themes and all of us are really going through very similar things.
Right. There's such power in community too.
And the energy that happens from these groups is so powerful because everyone is doing their breath. We can raise the frequency so much quicker. We can help elevate the frequency.
Right. I mean, I firmly believe we are not meant to do this alone.
No.
We are not meant to be living in systems that are as isolated as we live now. I think community offers such a deep level of reassurance and possibility for building.
Yes. Yes.
There's so much more that you can build as a collective than you can as just an individual person. But so I love that you offer both.
Yeah. And we can all make big waves.
Yeah. Okay, LexyRose, I believe there is a bit of a grounding exercise that we're going to do now. If you would be happy to lead us in something.
Yeah, I'd love to. You could do it in between calls with clients or in between meetings. But I suggest, obviously, if you are driving, just listen. And if you feel, inspired to come back later and listen to this, feel free to do that.
Yes.
So wherever you are, just take a deep breath in and call back your energy from everyone and everything, back from the to-do list, the friends, the job, everything. And just begin to feel your shoulders fall away from your ears and connect to pure source energy, life force energy streaming down through the top of your head. And you can close your eyes now if you haven't. And just envision this shower of infinite support just streaming down through your crown, letting it soften your shoulders, washing any tension away from your face, breathing your awareness into your heart center, down into your stomach and into the base of your spine. And if you're sitting on a chair, really allow the surface below you to hold you. Take another inhale in and an exhale out and just feel this energy of ease stream down your left leg and down your right leg, bringing your awareness into the bottoms of your feet, sending your energy all the way down through the floorboards, wherever you may find yourself. And if you're outside, just send your energy down through the earth. And those of you who are in an apartment or an office or wherever, a building, send your energy down into the earth as well. And as you send your energy down to the earth, you're going to go down into the soil and the minerals and the stones all the way down. At the center of the earth, you're going to find a crystal quartz, and you're going to tie your energy around this crystal quartz and take a deep, nourishing breath in, allowing yourself to receive, expand, and open. And just exhale out, letting everything and anything in the way of your peace, your clarity, and your ease go. Taking another deep breath in, receiving, expanding, and opening. And exhale out, just letting everything go. And Mother Earth uses whatever no longer serves you as compost and sends you up her energy. So just breathe this nourishment back up through the soil and to the floorboards of your room, wherever you may find yourself, into your left and right foot. And just breathe ease up your legs, into your knees, the base of your spine, your stomach, and all the way back up into your heart. And maybe here you can have a moment of gratitude for yourself. And if there's anything that you've been worrying about, maybe you can just send it off onto the altar of the universe and open up today to best case scenario. And allow this intention and attention to move things in a way that supports you, where you can open your eyes after this experience and look for opportunity. So take a deep breath in and an exhale out, feeling just immense gratitude for yourself and your life, even if there are moments of challenge right now. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes and continue on with your day.
Thank you. Oh, that's so beautiful. That could completely reset somebody's entire day.
Yeah, I mean, it does.
What physiologically is happening when somebody sits and breathes and envisions crystal energy coming through their body?
Wayne Dyer has this quote: when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So when we take a minute and we drop back into our bodies and we give ourselves that grace and that minute to understand that we are actually in command, we don't have to be in constant responding in our old default mode. We can slow down, reset, calm. So what is happening physiologically is we are calming down, calming down the nervous system. And it's so simple as just taking a deep breath. I don't know if you want to send your energy down into the earth, but I do believe that works. And then breathing that earth energy up and just recentering yourself.
Sure. Well, that visualization on its own just reminds you that you're connected to something that's so much bigger. So you don't have to hold all of the weight and all of the stress of life within you. When you send your energy down, it's so much bigger, and it's just a reminder. So I love that. Thank you. Thank you so much for all of this wisdom. I'm so fired up. I want to spread this to everybody. So if you are a listener and you are dreaming about taking that next step, reach out to LexyRose.
Yeah, please do. Send me any questions you have. I'm here for them.
A session. You can learn all about Holy Fire Reiki. You can experience it. I cannot wait to
experience it. You can change your life if you want.
You can change your life. And thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. I can't wait to see you back next week. Thanks for tuning in to Care Less with Carly. If this episode resonated with you or reminded you to stop living by someone else's rules, I would love to hear about it. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you enjoyed today's conversation, leaving a quick review means the world and helps more people find the show. If there's a guest you'd love to hear from, DM me their name at Care Less with Carly on Instagram or drop me a comment. I'm always looking for powerful, honest voices to bring into this space. Until next time, you got this. Keep caring less about what others think and more about what makes you come alive.